Is the US really happy with our election plan? Bangladesh Foreign Minister A.K. Abdul Momen meets with US Secretary of State Anthony J. Blinken at the State Department in Washington, D.C. on April 10, 2023. It was probably the most challenging diplomatic assignment any diplomat could have wished for. Foreign Minister A.K. Abdul Momen's meeting with US Secretary of State Anthony J. Blinken on April 10 was undoubtedly a delicate one. Not least for the unusually harsh public criticism of the US by Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina that had preceded it, but also for convincing his host that Bangladesh can deliver a free and fair election. The apparent silence on the part of Washington, D.C. about the allegation that the US is trying to eliminate democracy in Bangladesh and can overthrow the government of any country suggests that they didn't have the same impact as those made by Pakistan's Imran Khan. Pakistan's then Prime Minister that the Biden administration was trying to oust him when he was about to lose his majority in parliament. No wonder in response to a query from the media, our Prime Minister spokesperson, Shelly Sabrin, was confident enough to say that the remarks by the Prime Minister and her ICT advisor, Shadib Wajid Joy, will have no impact on the bilateral relations between Dhaka and Washington following the expulsion of two Tunisian lawmakers. Today, before the Blinken-Momen meeting, Sajib Watan on his Facebook questioned the fairness of U.S. democracy. When say that the U.S. State Department was nothing but a bunch of hypocrites. The opening statement, both of the foreign policy chiefs, were broadcast live on the State Department's YouTube channel, which made it easier for us to understand the tone of the talks. Whenever short opening statement, Secretary Blinken said, the world is looking to Bangladesh for its next elections to make sure that they set a strong example for free and fair elections for the region and for the world. Our Prime Minister's response was all about thanking them for their partnership and appreciation to President Biden for using the word Jai Bangla in his letter to Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina on Independence Day. But was transpired as the talks seems hard to decode as the narratives given by Secretary Blinken and Foreign Minister Momen are not an exact match. The bilateral conversation usually cover a wide range of issues of mutual interests. The particular meeting apparently had a special focus on Bangladesh's upcoming parliamentary election, claiming that the U.S. don't want a caretaker government. Momen told journalists in Sylhet on April 14 that we told them what we have done for a fair election. We have prepared a voter list with photos, made transparent ballot boxes, and formed a strong election commission. They're happy with that. Regarding the Digital Security Act, DSA, he said, in some cases the law had not been used properly, but all the countries of the world have such laws. Even the U.S. has tougher laws. We will rectify and deviations. The U.S. are satisfied with that. They don't want a repeal of the law, but want its misuse stopped. He added. The U.S. narrative, however, is quite blunt. First, there was a tweet by Secretary Blinken in which he said, "I underscored that a free, fair election and respect for human rights, media, and civil society are critical as we seek to deepen U.S.-Bangladeshi ties," which shows neither signs of happiness over the electoral arrangement in Bangladesh, nor any satisfaction about the assurance given on ending the misuse of Digital Security Act. The second statement made by the principal deputy spokesperson Vedant Patel after a few hours was even more straightforward. In his readout, he said that the secretary reiterated our commitment to promoting inclusive economic growth, free and fair election, human and labor rights, and freedom of expression in Bangladesh. Additional Secretary Blinken expressed concern about violence against and intimidation of media and civil society, including under the Digital Security Act, and underscored that free and fair election uh, and respect for human rights in Bangladesh are critical as we seek to defend our bilateral relationship at a separate media briefing. Vedant Battle even termed the Digital Security Act one of the world's most draconian laws for journalists. Registered at the U.S., several other Western nations have been increasingly putting emphasis on holding credible election in countries like ours for a country quite some time, but it has really featured in some details at this level. which is even rather a felicitation message on the University of Independence from the U.S. president will have a reminder of the key value of free and fair election. The extra emphasis on free and fair election on the part of the U.S. is something fairly new. So far, it has been consistently vocal about human rights, workers' rights, press freedom, and rule of law. Looking back at their previous meeting, you won't see the election issue featured so prominently, despite the fact that the US considered the 2018 election as not free or fair, and observed that it undermined faith in the electoral process. And meeting two was a difficult one, and way to the sanction imposed on the countries elite forced a rapid action battle in RAB, which rattled the Bangladesh government on that occasion. Besides expressing gratitude to the Bangladesh for hosting the Rohingya, Secretary Blinken told his guest that he wanted to discuss the work we are doing together bilaterally in the region and indeed even globally. The willingness to work together in the region and globally was seen by many as an explicit recognition of Bangladesh's strategic importance. It was thought to be quite significant in Washington's pursuit of an Indo-Pacific and to counter China's growing influence. It is therefore intriguing as to why there was no public commitment this time for working together in the region and globally. The Prime Minister remarked on Sunday that he had sought cooperation for Washington to ensure participation of all political parties in the upcoming general election is quite revealing. It reminds one of his previous statements to the U.S. to help bring the BNP to the election. Doesn't it appear to be something closer to seeking their mediation?